Welcome back to our channel, where we share updates and untold stories about Catherine, Princess of Wales, and her royal family. Today, we bring you some significant news. Prince William in tears after finding Diana's hidden notes for Princess Charlotte's future. According to a person with knowledge of the situation, Prince William was overcome with emotion when he saw the last message that Princess Diana had written for his daughter. A significant amount of pressure has been put on Princess Charlotte's future as a result of the transfer of Diana's legacy to their daughter. This movie will shed light on the legacy that Princess Diana left to Princess Charlotte, as well as the invisible battles that have been going on inside the royal family at Windsor. A finding that caused the company to shake. Prince William made a discovery that would unravel decades of secrets and unleash a blaze of conjecture. This discovery took place in the silent hallways of Althorp House, where the whispers of the past still linger as much as they did in the past. There was not a royal heirloom, but rather a deeply personal artifact hidden within a jewelry box that had been forgotten for a very long time. It was an emerald ring that was etched with the Latin words Veritas Lux, which translates to "Truth is my light." Accompanying the ring was a handwritten note that was addressed to William. The note was a message from his mother, Princess Diana, and it had been sealed away for nearly 30 years. This finding, which was uncovered during a private cataloging of Diana's items, has sent shockwaves across the royal family as well as through the general public. However, the ring and the inscription on it are more than just a relic. They are a compass that points to Diana's dying desires and a warning concerning the future of the monarchy. These events serve as a wake-up call for Prince William, one that has the potential to recast his position as the heir to the throne and his obligation to his children, most notably Princess Charlotte. The secret message concealed within Diana's ring of truth. There is a gateway to the past in the jewelry box. The events that set the stage for the tale begin in the spring of 2023, when the employees at Althorp House, where Diana spent her youth, began an exhaustive inventory of her possessions. One inconspicuous box with a velvet-lined inside stood out among the tiaras, dresses, and personal things that were there. Before Diana Spencer's passing in 1997, it had been left to her brother, Earl Charles Spencer, for safekeeping, and it had not been touched since then. In the event that Prince William opened the box, he anticipated discovering items that were known to him, maybe a piece of jewelry that she had worn during her famous public appearances. On the other hand, he discovered an envelope made of worn ivory with edges that had yellowed with age, and it was addressed simply to William. Diana's handwritten message, which read, "For the one who will carry the burden of both truth and tradition," was found inside the packaging along with the emerald ring. The beginnings of the ring, the creation of a symbol. Regarding the royal family, the ring itself is a very unique piece of jewelry. It's emerald, which has a dark green color and is set in a daring and contemporary style, stands in stark contrast to the more conventional gems that are associated with Diana. Experts believe that the ring may have been crafted to Diana's specifications at a time in her life when she was undergoing a personal metamorphosis, probably around the time when she was estranged from Prince Charles. The selection of the gemstone was not made by chance. Emeralds, throughout history, have been a sign of knowledge, development, and rebirth. This is a mirror of Diana's personal journey, which began when she was a young newlywed and ended when she became an independent champion for charity causes. The style of the ring, which has a focal stone and a band that is devoid of any embellishments, reflects Diana's taste for understatement over ostentation. Veritas Lux is the notation on the item. The Latin phrase Veritas Lux, which translates to "Truth is my light," is a clear reference to Diana's support for openness throughout her whole life. Despite the fact that Diana often cited philosophical and literary works in her private letters, historians have observed that this specific statement is especially painful in light of the fact that she engaged in public conflicts with the royal family's concealment. Historiographer Eleanor Whitmore, who specializes in royal symbolism, provides the following explanation. Veritas lux is a conscious decision to reject the opaque customs that are associated with the monarchy. Even when confronted with opposition from the establishment, Diana was a lady who felt that the truth had the power to heal. This ring is more than simply a piece of jewelry, it's a declaration. The hush that engulfed the situation. William reacted in a manner that was both instant and deep. Insiders inside the family claim that he left the room changed, rendered speechless for a period of many hours. In spite of the fact that it was icy to the touch, the ring had an emotional weight that was beyond its physical configuration. It is said that over the course of the following days, he went over every aspect of Diana's life in an effort to comprehend the significance of the message. The revelation has rekindled discussions over Diana's last years and the tense connection she had with the royal family for most of her life. Had she been able to anticipate the conflicts that exist between modernity and tradition that now beset the monarchy? Did she want to pose a challenge to the establishment that she had previously considered to be her home? Managing the cataloging project, a complicated task. An effort that lasted for many months and was overseen by a group of archivists and members of the royal staff was the indexing of Diana's belongings. Due to the fact that Diana's belongings continue to be very private to her family, the procedure was carried out with the utmost respect. This is what Earl Spencer, who was in charge of the project, said. Each and every piece was treated with the utmost respect. Even the simplest of trinkets may potentially contain a great deal of importance, as we were aware. For me, this ring was like a bridge that led me back to her. Based on the findings of the team's investigation, it was discovered that the box had been concealed behind a compartment in Diana's childhood bedroom, which was a space that she had seldom visited in her latter years. As the heir who is not seen, Princess Charlotte. A child who exists in two different worlds. A stealthy revolution is taking place inside the royal family, and Princess Charlotte, who is now 9 years old, is the focal point of this change. At the same time that she was born into the glitz and glamour of the monarchy, she is also entrenched in the heritage of her grandmother, a lady who transformed the way the general public views the royal family. One foot is firmly planted in the pomp and circumstance of duty, while the other is firmly planted in the emotional realities that her parents, William and Catherine, have stressed in their upbringing. Charlotte's world is a dichotomy. James Stewart, a commentator on royal affairs, described her as the first royal child to be raised in an era where empathy and honesty are of the utmost importance. Charlotte's awareness of her place in history is already acute, despite the fact that William and Catherine have shielded her from the worst of the palace politics. One of the living legacies of the Diana influence. There is a clear and present presence of Diana in Charlotte's life. In addition to the fact that her humanitarian activity is a fundamental component of Charlotte's education, family photographs of her are widely exhibited at Kensington Palace. Charlotte is aware of stories about her grandmother that the majority of people are not aware of, discloses a close assistant. She will ask questions about Diana's charitable work or the reason she wore a particular dress, and William will respond with reverence on both occasions. There have been parallels made between Charlotte and Diana due to her physical similarities, including her expressive eyes and her poised but mischievous disposition. The thing that most closely resembles Diana's personality is, however, her emotional intelligence. She demonstrates a level of maturity that is above her years by often pausing at public events to interact with those who wish her well. The education of Charlotte, a curriculum fit for a royal. The education that Charlotte receives is a mix of modernism and tradition that has been meticulously tailored. She is a student at the exclusive Thomas's Battersea, where her parents place a strong emphasis on creative thinking and analytical reasoning. Her instructors are historians who concentrate on the development of the monarchy, ensuring that she has a broad understanding of both the monarchy's splendor and its complications. An ex-member of the staff remembers the following. She once posed the question, "Why is it that kings are required to wear crowns?" It was conveyed to her by her professors that it was a sign of duty rather than power. In a contemplative manner, she bowed her head and said, "So it's like a reminder?" The discrimination with Camilla. The role that Queen Camilla plays in Charlotte's life, on the other hand, is characterized by a distance. Camilla's contacts with the children of Wales are more formal than her dealings with her own grandchildren, whom she treats with warmth. The fact that Charlotte gently avoids Camilla during occasions like the Queen's Platinum Jubilee and instead leans upon her mother or brother George is something that observers have noticed. According to Stewart, the tension is not overt, but it cannot be denied. Despite the fact that Camilla's lack of connection with Charlotte is not purposeful, it does contribute to the hatred that already exists. It is difficult for the next generation of the monarchy to choose between a grandma they have never met and a step-grandmother they are unfamiliar with. An examination of Charlotte's public persona as a type of duality. When Charlotte attends public events, she often wears expressions that provide a glimpse into her inner life. During a ceremony commemorating Remembrance Day in 2022, she stood next to her father and displayed a level of seriousness that was suitable for a royal. However, during a charity event for children's literacy, she laughed freely, revealing a side of her that is reserved for close friends and family. During his visit to a school in London, photographer Mark Reynolds took pictures of her and made the following observations. She has the charm of her mother as well as the passion of her father. Her eyes, on the other hand, are Diana's. It seems as if she is constantly thinking 2 steps ahead, which is a depth that she has. It is the weight of a contentious legacy that Camilla's crown bears. Going from controversy to sovereignty. The road that Camilla took to become queen consort is a wonderful example of perseverance. She was once referred to as the other woman in the marriage of Charles and Diana, and she has spent decades being subjected to public derision. Despite the fact that her coronation in 2023 signified a historic transformation, acceptance is still difficult to come by. This is what the royal biographer Lady Sarah Jane has to say about Camilla. Her title is secure, but her heart is not. The expectation is that she will serve as the emotional anchor for the following generation, despite the fact that she has never been a member of the inner family circle. This is a position that she is not well suited to fill. The disturbance of emotions. The contentious connection that exists between Camilla and William is well documented. They engage with one another in a manner that is courteous yet aloof, and this dynamic is passed on to the children. Camilla often sits at a different location from Charlotte and her siblings when the family is together, and her presence serves as a constant reminder of the family's troubled history. According to a representative of the royal family, Camilla's warmth is reserved for her own grandchildren. With regard to the children of Wales, there is a formality that gives the impression of being a barrier. Charlotte is aware of it, even if she is unable to express it with words. The voice that can be heard all over the world. According to reports, Charlotte's breaking point occurred during a garden party in the year 2023 when she posed the question, "Why is she trying to be nice?" Immediately after the unguarded query was recorded by a microphone, it became a sensation immediately. In spite of the fact that it was a child's comment, Stewart admits that it touched a chord. The public has always been irritated by Camilla's reputation for being friendly in a planned manner. The thoughts that many people were having were given a voice by Charlotte's comments. The image of Camilla in the public eye, striking a balance. The public appearances that Camilla makes are carefully organized in order to convey a sense of friendliness and approachability. Charity activities are something that she takes part in on a regular basis, and she typically focuses on topics such as mental health and literacy. The parallels that are made between her efforts and Diana's more spontaneous and sincere interactions, on the other hand, often eclipse her efforts. Camilla has been guided by fashion stylist Emma Taylor, who discloses the following. She makes an effort to be approachable, but the weight of Diana's legacy is too great. The authenticity of every gesture is given careful consideration. Administration of Camilla's story is the strategy employed by the palace. To rebrand Camilla, the royal family has begun a public relations campaign that places an emphasis on her support for Charles and her involvement in the process of modernizing the monarchy. Critics, on the other hand, contend that these attempts are just cosmetic. Fiona McTaggart, a critic of the royal family, describes the process as like polishing a tarnished silver platter. The public is able to see through the veneer. Without a doubt, Camilla's narrative is inextricably linked to the most dreadful period in the history of the kingdom. William's predicament, navigating between the past and the future. The obligation of the heir. In addition to managing a monarchy that is undergoing change, Prince William is tasked with the tremendous burden of respecting Diana's legacy. His determination to safeguard Charlotte's spirit has been strengthened as a result of the finding of the ring. The statement made by Dr. Whitmore is that William considers Charlotte to be a living manifestation of Diana's beliefs. He is resolute in his commitment to protect her from the institutional pressures that oppressed him during his own childhood. The choice between showing compassion and showing crown. Now, Diana's message serves as the compass that directs William's choices. His behavior at family gatherings has become more forceful, and he has begun to challenge rules that place an emphasis on tradition rather than honesty. An assistant of the palace is quoted as saying, "There is a quiet rebellion in his actions." Charlotte's surroundings are being curated by him to represent the values that her grandma embodied, which were empathy, honesty, and sincerity. The formative years of William, the beginnings of an heir. One must look back to William's own childhood in order to comprehend the manner in which he approaches parenting. After his parents' divorce, he and Harry frequently found themselves entangled in parental disputes. After Diana's passing, he was forced to contend with sorrow as well as the unexpected scrutiny of the public. A buddy from their youth recalls, "Why is it that we can't simply be normal?" he would question. But he was also aware of his function. Now he is committed to ensuring that Charlotte will not experience such pressure. The public persona of William, striking a complicated balance. There is a fine line that William treads between his inner reality and his duties. He has been candid about his issues with mental health, which is a significant departure from the austere reputation of the monarchy. His genuineness has made him a character that people can relate to, but it also makes him open to critique. During an interview in the year 2022, he said, "I'm not here to judge. I am here to create a better future while simultaneously gaining knowledge from the past." Catherine's quiet revolution, protecting the family from harmful influences. Approaches taken by the Duchess. Catherine has emerged as the family's strategist, despite the fact that she is sometimes underappreciated as a quiet person. Charlotte's exposure to the nuances of the palace has been deliberately selected by her, and she has made certain that Diana's tale is conveyed through her own personal lens. The calmness that Catherine exudes is a facade, explains Stewart. She is systematically constructing a protective barrier around Charlotte, namely one that strikes a balance between royal duty and emotional well-being. The formation of a duchess, Catherine's childhood and adolescence. Catherine was well prepared for the rigors of the monarchy, thanks to her upbringing as a lady from the Isle of Wight who belonged to the middle class. Her parents, Michael and Carol Middleton, instilled in her the value of resiliency and self-reliance, which are characteristics that she now passes on to her children. A friend of the family reports, "One thing that she has never forgotten is what it is like to be on the outside looking in. Consequently, she is quite concerned about Charlotte's mental health because of this cause." The prospects for the company's future. Camilla is influenced by Catherine in a significant way. In private, she establishes limits to restrict Camilla's access to the children, yet at the same time, it is her responsibility to preserve public decorum. According to the biographer Lady Sarah Jane, she is not hostile, but she is unyielding. Camilla is unable to provide the emotional clarity that Catherine recognizes is necessary for Charlotte's well-being, Catherine said. Through her charitable work, Catherine is building a bridge to Diana's legacy. Diana's humanitarian work has been broadened by Catherine, who is now concentrating on issues concerned with the mental health of children and the environment. Diana's concern for underrepresented groups is reflected in the fact that her charitable organization, the Royal Foundation, currently incorporates programs that are geared toward empowering young women. The statement made by Stewart is that she is ensuring that her children see their grandmother's ideals in action. It is Charlotte's method of maintaining her connection to the community that she helps at a local food bank on a monthly basis. The unseen tensions, the dynamics of the palace, and the scrutiny of the public. The language of silence, or gesture, refers to the unspoken communication that occurs during royal ceremonies. Royal ceremonies offer a stage for the understated exchange of information. At the Trooping the Color in 2023, Charlotte's small lean away from Camilla became a topic of discussion all across the world. The situation was studied by specialists in body language, who pointed out that her stance reflected Diana's own reserved demeanor when she was in public. According to Lady Helena Grant, an authority in etiquette, every tilt of the head and every shift in weight is analyzed. The fact that Charlotte chose to shun Camilla was a subtle signal that demonstrated that the next generation is paying attention. An examination of symbolism through the coronation. During the coronation of King Charles, Charlotte's conduct was closely examined in order to discover any hints about her allegiances. Charles was greeted with a bow, while Camilla was only given a stern nod from her. Despite the fact that palace officials believe that the moment was nothing more than a formality, it was seen as a rejection. An example of a double-edged sword. The function of the press. The Whisper event has resulted in an increased level of attention being paid to Charlotte by the media. Currently, paparazzi are following her as she leaves school, and they are analyzing every grin and frown she makes. A journalist by the name of Tom Bradby asserts that this is not just about the monarchy. The public's need for genuineness is the driving force behind this. Charlotte embodies the dream that a more approachable royal family will one day exist. Diana's ghost. The unwavering influence on the world. Between the public and the private, the myth of Diana. There is a stark contrast between Diana's public character, which is a symbol of kindness, and her inner problems. Her letters and diaries give the impression that she felt confined by the demands of the monarchy. It was during her latter years that she had the ambition to reimagine her position, which is a purpose that Charlotte today embraces completely. The letters of Diana serve as a window into her mind. When Diana's private letters were leaked in 2022, it showed that she was concerned about the future of her boys. In a letter to Charles, she stated, "I do not want